You've been told to just manage your symptoms. But what if your problem is hiding below the surface? Welcome to Root Cause Wellness.
Okay, let's talk about cellulite. If you've ever felt just completely frustrated by it, I want you to know you are so not alone. It's one of the most stubborn issues out there. So today, we're going to finally pull back the curtain and get to the real hormonal truth behind it. You know what I'm talking about, right? That classic orange peel or cottage cheese look on your thighs, your hips, your butt. And it is absolutely maddening because it feels like no matter how hard you work, it just refuses to budge. So what is really going on here?
I'm willing to bet you followed all the standard advice. You spend hours at the gym, hitting those two-dimensional machines, thinking, if I just burn enough fat, this has to go away. And yet, for all that effort, you see little to no change. It's incredibly demoralizing.
Well, here's the thing. There's a reason that old approach fails. The myth we've all been sold is that cellulite is just a simple fat problem. But the truth? Oh, it's way deeper than that. It's actually a structural and a hormonal problem. And understanding this difference is everything. I'm serious. Let that one sink in for a second. The stuff you're seeing on your skin, it is not some special, super stubborn kind of fat. It's really a signal that something is breaking down deep underneath the surface. Okay, so let's dig into that. First, we've got to understand the structural problem. We need to look at the actual architecture under your skin to see why those dimples are even showing up in the first place. All right, the main character in this story is something called fascia. Now, the easiest way to picture this is to think of it like a strong web-like sheet of saran wrap that sits right under your skin. Its whole job is to hold everything, your fat, your muscle, nice and tight, keeping it all looking smooth.
So cellulite shows up when you get this perfect storm of three things happening all at once. Number one, the fat cells in that area get bigger. Number two, that fascia, our saran wrap, gets weak and starts to separate. And number three, the muscle layer underneath starts to shrink and get weak. It atrophies. Okay, so picture this. As that strong, web-like fascia starts to break down and lose its tightness, those now enlarged fat cells aren't held in place anymore. So what do? They start to bulge up, poking right through the gaps in that weakened web. That is what creates the dimpled look we see on the surface. It's not the fat itself, it's the structure failing.
Right. So, what's causing this whole structural collapse to begin with? This is where we get to the real root cause. We're talking about the hidden hormonal drivers that are basically running the whole show from behind the scenes. Hormone number one, insulin. I want you to think of insulin as the fat cell stuffer. When your insulin levels are high all the time, usually because of a diet full of carbs and sugar, its main job is to take all that extra energy and literally stuff it into your fat cells, making them bigger and bigger. That's part one of the problem. Okay, next up, hormone number two, estrogen. When you have too much estrogen, it acts like a collagen destroyer. I'm not kidding. It literally dissolves the collagen and elastin that are supposed to make your fascia strong and stretchy. So you've got insulin puffing up the fat cells, and at the same time, you've got excess estrogen just eating away at the container that's supposed to hold them in. And to complete this hormonal trio of trouble, we have cortisol, your main stress hormone. We can call this one the muscle melter. When you're chronically stressed out and cortisol is high, it causes the muscle tissue underneath all that fat and fascia to just break down. It basically removes that firm, supportive foundation, making the whole area look, well, weaker and jigglier. So there you have it. That's the problem. Enlarged fat cells, weak fascia, and atrophied muscle, all being driven by these three key hormones. But the good news is, now that we actually understand the root cause, we can put together a real action plan that works. Okay, so our solution is basically a three-pronged attack. First, to shrink those enlarged fat cells, we've got to lower our insulin. How? By cutting back on carbs and maybe trying out some intermittent fasting. Second, to rebuild that weak fascia and muscle, we need to boost our growth hormone. You do that with high-quality sleep and the right kind of workouts. And third, to fight that excess estrogen, we can start loading up on cruciferous veggies. Think broccoli, cauliflower, you know the drill. All right, let's zero in on the workouts for a second because this is huge. It is time to ditch those isolated two-dimensional gym machines. They just don't work for this. What we need instead are multi-dimensional workouts.
So what on earth are multi-dimensional workouts? Simple. They're movements that activate the entire network of your lower body muscles all at once. We're talking about things like lunges, squats, heck, even just walking backwards or retro walking. These kinds of exercises fire up all 90 muscles down there, building that strong, firm foundation we need right under the fascia.
Okay, before you run off and change everything, there is one last really crucial piece to this puzzle, and it's all about setting the right expectations. And please, please hear me on this. Rebuilding connective tissue, that collagen, that fascia, it's not a quick fix. It is not a 30-day challenge. You didn't get here overnight, and you're not going to fix it overnight. We are honestly talking about a process that can take anywhere from 1 to 3 years of being consistent.
So I'm telling you this so you don't give up after a few weeks or a month. The changes are happening, but they're deep. They're structural. You know what a great way to stay motivated is? Take pictures. Take a before photo now. The mirror can play tricks on you day to day. But photos taken months apart will show you the real amazing progress you're making.
So let me leave you with this question. What if the real key to changing your body isn't about how many calories you can burn, but about which hormones you can balance? It's a total shift in thinking, right? But it might just be the answer you've been searching for all along.
Remember, true health is about getting to the underlying root cause, not just managing your symptoms with a label and a pill.